The snow fell like accusations. A lone farmhouse stood frozen on the Colorado plains, December 1856. Smoke curled from the chimney, but no warmth escaped the wooden gate. On the porch, a man held a paper, the wax seal, red as dried blood. Inside the kitchen, a woman's trembling hands wrapped her belongings. One shawl, 3 tins of matches, a small knife, 8 coins, cold against the handkerchief. A voice cut through the wind, colder than the storm itself. 1 hour, 1 bag, clothes only. She looked up, eyes dry. No tears left after 7 years of being called barren. The gate creaked open toward the west, where deep pine forests waited, where 4 days of buried trails stretched ahead, where no one knew that tonight, somewhere in those woods, a gunshot would tear through the silence. And nothing would ever be the same again. December 1856. Colorado Territory, the snow fell like accusations, cold, white, relentless. Cora stood at the gate she'd walked through as a bride 7 years ago. The same gate, different woman. Behind her, the farmhouse she'd scrubbed, the floors she'd polished, the garden she'd planted every spring with hands that never seemed to stop shaking when Elliot's mother watched. In front of her, Silas, Elliot's brother, her brother-in-law. Now just a man with papers in his hand and winter in his eyes. You need to understand something, Cordelia. She hated when he used her full name. Like he was already practicing for court, this land belonged to Whitmore men for 3 generations. The wind pulled at her shawl. She didn't tighten it, didn't give him the satisfaction. Elliot left it to family, real family, blood family. I was his wife. You were his barren wife. The word landed like a fist. Barren, she'd heard it whispered at church, muttered behind hands at the mercantile, shouted once by Elliot's mother after too much communion wine, but never to her face, until now. 6 years of marriage, Cordelia. Not one child, not even a miscarriage to show you tried. Her fingernails cut into her palms. She welcomed the pain. Something to focus on that wasn't the humiliation burning up her throat. Elliot wanted children. You couldn't give him that. So the land goes to someone who can pass it on properly. Elliot's will. Elliot's will left everything to me. Silas unfolded the paper. Yellow parchment, official seal. In the event of his death, all property reverts to the eldest living Whitmore male. That's the law. That's not what he told me. Then he lied to spare your feelings. Silas refolded the paper. Careful. Precise. The truth is, you have no claim here. No children. No proof of anything except 7 years of failure. The wind picked up behind Silas. She could see the foreman, Marcus, looking away, ashamed. But not ashamed enough to speak up. I'm giving you 1 hour to pack. Silas turned toward the house. 1 bag. Clothes only. Everything else stays. Where am I supposed to go? He stopped. Didn't turn around. I hear they need washerwoman in Silver Creek. 4 days west. You can walk it if you start now. It's December, then walk faster. 1 hour. Cora stood in the bedroom she'd shared with Elliot. The bed they'd tried in. Failed in. Eventually stopped trying in the quilt she'd sewn. Wedding ring pattern. Still on the mattress. She didn't take it. Let Silas sleep under her needlework. Let him wake up every morning wrapped in the hours she'd spent trying to build something beautiful instead. She took 1 dress. Brown wool. Practical. 1 shawl. Her mother's. The only thing she'd brought to this marriage that meant anything. 1 pair of boots. Elliot's. Too big. But hers were falling apart, and Silas hadn't said she couldn't take dead husband's shoes. From the kitchen, matches, 3 tins, candles, to a knife for cutting vegetables, or throats, depending. And from the locked drawer in Elliot's desk. The one Silas didn't know about, because Elliot never told him everything. $8 in coins, not enough to start over. Enough to not starve immediately. She wrapped it in a handkerchief, buried it in her pocket, felt the weight of it against her hip like a tiny anchor to somewhere that wasn't here. The gate closed behind her with a sound like a coffin lid. Final. Silas stood on the porch, watching, making sure she actually left. Marcus was in the barn, hiding, and Cora walked west, toward Silver Creek, toward nothing. The snow thickened. By noon, she couldn't see the farm anymore. By sunset, she couldn't see anything. First rule of Colorado winters, respect the cold. Second rule, the cold doesn't care. Cora's hands stopped feeling like hands around the time the sun disappeared. They felt like clubs. Useless attachments that used to do things. Unbuttoned dresses. Knead bread, hold a husband who didn't look at her anymore, because every month that passed without a child, another month of disappointment. She shook her head. Not now, not helpful. The path, barely visible under fresh snow, led into dense pine forest. The kind mapmakers marked with tiny trees and the word impassable in careful script. But impassable meant away from Silas, so she walked. Her stomach had stopped growling an hour ago. Now it just ached, a dull throb that matched the rhythm of her steps. Left foot. Right foot. Don't think about warm kitchens. Left foot. Right foot. Don't think about soup. Left foot. Her boot caught on something buried in snow. She went down hard, hands out, face in powder, cold burning every exposed inch of skin. For a long moment, she just lay there. It would be easy, so easy. Just close her eyes. Let the snow cover her. By morning, she'd be adrift. By spring, bones scattered by wolves. Barren in life. Fertilizer in death. At least she'd finally be useful for something. She laughed. It came out broken. Sharp edges that cut her throat on the way up. Not yet, she whispered to the snow. To God. To whoever was listening in this empty forest, not. Yet, she pushed herself up, found what tripped her, a root. Thick as her wrist. Twisted and dark against the white, and beside it. A cave, no, not a cave. A rock overhang. Small, shallow. But enough to block the wind, enough to not die immediately. She crawled inside. The overhang was maybe 6 feet deep, 4 feet high. She had to crouch, but it was dry, mostly. And the wind howled past instead of through small mercies. Cora's fingers, still mostly numb, fumbled with the matches. First one broke. Second one wouldn't light. Third one sparked, tiny flame. She fed it pine needles, dead leaves. Twigs so dry they crackled, the fire grew, not much. Not enough to thaw her frozen core, but enough to see by enough to count her supplies. 2 candles, 3 tins of matches, 1 knife, $8. And 4 days to Silver Creek, if the snow stopped, if she didn't freeze, if she found food, if. She pulled her knees to her chest, wrapped her mother's shawl tighter. The fire popped. Outside, the wind screamed, and Cora closed her eyes, just for a moment, just to rest. The gunshot woke her. Not the wind, not the cold. A gunshot, sharp, distinct, close enough to make her ears ring. Cora's eyes snapped open. The fire had burned down to embers. Red glow in the dark. How long had she slept? Hours? Minutes? Another shot. Then shouting, male voices, rough, angry. And another sound, hooves, a horse screaming, the kind of sound animals make when they know they're dying. Cora pressed herself against the rock wall. Don't move, don't breathe, don't. A third shot, then silence, the kind of silence that meant something terrible just finished happening. She should stay hidden, should wait until morning, should be smart. Instead, she picked up the knife. The snow had stopped. Moonlight turned everything silver. Beautiful. Deceptive. Cora crept forward, toward the sounds. Toward the thing her brain was screaming at her not to walk toward. Because if there were men with guns, if there were bodies, if there were, she stopped. The trail opened into a small clearing, and in the center, lit by cold moonlight, a horse massive, dark, lying on its side with one leg bent wrong, and underneath the horse, trapped, pinned, bleeding, a man. Cora's medical knowledge consisted of binding minor cuts, brewing willow bark tea for fever, delivering exactly 0 babies because God apparently had opinions about her womb. This was not a minor cut. The man's leg disappeared under 1,000 pounds of dying horse. His head bled from a gash above his left eye. His breathing came shallow and fast. Shock, she knew shock, and beside him. A child? No, not a child. A boy. Maybe 5 years old. Dressed in buckskin, too big for him. Face pale as the snow. He wasn't crying, that was worse. Children should cry when their father, uncle. Whoever this man was lay dying. The boy's mouth moved. No sound came out, just silent words shaped by lips too cold to make noise. Help, help. Cora dropped to her knees beside the man. Can you hear me? The man's eyes opened. Gray, like storm clouds, like winter sky. He tried to speak, coughed instead. Blood on his lips. Don't talk. Cora pulled off her shawl, started tearing it into strips. She needed to stop the head wound. Needed to assess the leg. Needed to. The horse shifted. The man screamed, not loud. That would have been better. This was quiet, choked. The sound of someone trying not to scare a child. Cora looked at the boy. What's your name? The boy's mouth moved. No sound. Can you talk? He shook his head. Of course not. Of course. Okay. Okay. Cora forced her voice steady. I'm going to help your father? The boy shook his head. Uncle? A nod. I'm going to help your uncle. But I need you to be very brave. Can you do that? The boy nodded again. His eyes were too old for 5. First, the head wound. Cora wrapped torn shawl around the man's forehead, tight enough to stop bleeding. Not tight enough to kill him a different way. Blood soaked through immediately. She added another layer, then another. Finally, the red stopped spreading. Second, assess the leg. She couldn't. Not with half a horse on top of it. The animal's breathing had gone ragged. Foam at its mouth, eyes rolling. It was dying, slowly. And every twitch of its death throes ground the man's leg deeper into frozen earth. I need to move the horse, Cora said. To the man. To herself. To God. The man grabbed her wrist. His grip was weak but desperate. Don't. His voice came rough. Whiskey and gravel. Can't. Too heavy. If I don't, you'll die here. Might die anyway. Not helpful. He almost smiled. A ghost of humor in dying eyes. Practical woman. Desperate woman. Cora looked at the horse. At the boy. At the impossible situation. Is there anyone else? Anyone who can help? Cabin. 2 miles north, 2 miles. Through snow, in the dark. With a child who couldn't speak and a man who might not last 10 minutes. I can make it back before dawn, Cora said. Get help. Get no time, the man coughed again. More blood. You leave now. I'm dead when you return. You're dead if I stay. Maybe, definitely, his hand tightened on her wrist. Please, that one word. Shaped by a mouth that didn't beg, by a man who looked like he'd rather die than ask for help. But he asked anyway, because of the boy. Cora looked at the child, at those 2 old eyes watching her. Waiting? Damn it. She stood up. Problem, 1 dying horse. Approximately 1,000 pounds solution. Comic Cora walked around the animal, looking for leverage, for options, for anything that wasn't accepting defeat. The horse's saddle was buried under its body. Useless. Its legs 3 working, 1 shattered, kicked weakly, random spasms, and underneath. The man's leg bent at an angle legs shouldn't bend. She had 2 options. 1, dig. Scoop snow and frozen earth out from under the leg. Create a depression. Pull him free through the gap. 2, pray for a miracle. She didn't believe in miracles anymore. Cora dropped to her knees beside the man's trapped leg and started digging. Her fingers bled within minutes. The ground was frozen solid, an inch down. Like digging through stone, the knife helped. Barely. She stabbed, pried, scooped, stabbed again. Inch by inch, the man had gone quiet, too quiet. Stay awake, Cora ordered without looking up, bossy, alive. There's a difference, debatable. Talk to me. Tell me your name. Silence. Then, Nathaniel Blackwood. Cora's hand stilled. Everyone in Colorado Territory knew that name. Nathaniel Blackwood, the mountain who'd found silver 3 years ago. Not a big strike. Not enough to attract mining companies. Just enough to make one man quietly wealthy. Just enough to make him disappear into the mountains with his fortune. Just enough to make him a target. She looked at the boy, and him, Tobias. My nephew. Toby, where are his parents? Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Dead, of course. Cora went back to digging 20 minutes. Her fingers had gone from bleeding to numb, 30 minutes. She'd created a depression maybe 3 inches deep. Not enough 40 minutes. The man's breathing had turned shallow. His eyes kept closing. Nathaniel, stay with me, tired, I know. But you can't sleep yet. Why not? Because if you sleep, you don't wake up. And then I've wasted 40 minutes digging for a corpse. He laughed, wet. Painful, practical and mean. Desperate and realistic. 50 minutes. 6 inches deep. It might be enough. Cora grabbed Nathaniel under his arms. This is going to hurt. Already hurt. It's going to hurt more. She pulled. His scream echoed through the clearing. The horse thrashed. Toby pressed his hands over his ears. And Nathaniel's leg, broken, bleeding, bent, slid free. He passed out immediately. Probably for the best. Cora dragged him away from the dying horse. 10 feet. 20. Far enough that if it thrashed in its death throes, it wouldn't hit them. Then she assessed the damage. Head wound. Bad but managed. Leg catastrophic. The bone had snapped below the knee. She could see the break through torn buckskin. White against red compound fracture. She'd seen one before. Marcus back at the farm. Kicked by a bull. He'd lost the leg. Cora closed her eyes, breathed, opened them again. She couldn't amputate in a frozen clearing with a pocket knife. But she could splint, maybe, if she worked fast, if infection didn't set in, if God decided to start answering prayers from barren women. Toby brought her branches. Without being asked, smart boy. Cora selected 2. Straight. Strong. Long enough to immobilize knee to ankle. She tore more of her shawl into strips. Her mother's shawl. The last piece of home gone. She wrapped the branches against Nathaniel's leg. As gently as she could. As firmly as she had to. He woke up twice during the process, screamed once, passed out again. By the time she finished, dawn was breaking. Gray light, cold, unforgiving, and in that light, Cora saw 3 sets of footprints in the snow, leading away from the clearing, leading toward the spot where the horse fell. This wasn't an accident. Someone had been here. Someone had shot at Nathaniel. Someone had left him to die. She looked at the footprints, then at Nathaniel, then at Toby. Your uncle made enemies. Toby nodded. Big enemies? Another nod. Wonderful. Cora sat back on her heels. She could leave them. Should leave them. This wasn't her fight. Wasn't her problem. She had $8 and 4 days to Silver Creek. These weren't her people. But Toby was looking at her. Those 2 old eyes waiting. And Nathaniel had said, please? Damn it. She stood up. Okay. Okay, your uncle said there's a cabin. 2 miles north. Can you show me? Toby nodded and pointed, through the trees. Up a slope, 2 miles. Cora looked at Nathaniel. 6 feet tall. Probably 180 in weight. She was 5'5", and hadn't eaten in 2 days. This is going to be interesting. She couldn't carry him, but she could drag. Cora fashioned a travois from branches and leather strips, cut from the dead horse's saddle. Crude. Unstable. It would have to do. She lashed Nathaniel to it, checked his breathing. Still shallow. Still alive. Then she grabbed the front of the travois and pulled. It moved, barely. Every step was agony. Her boots slipped on ice. Her hands screamed. Her back felt like it was breaking in 17 places. But she pulled step, pull. Toby walked beside her, silent. His hand occasionally touching the travois like he was checking his uncle, was still there, still breathing, still real. Talk to me. Cora gasped, then remembered. Right, can't. Toby looked at her. Hum then. Can you hum? He shook his head. Nothing. No sound at all? He opened his mouth, showed her his throat worked, his lips moved, but no sound came out. Not mute by choice. Mute by trauma. What happened to you? Cora whispered. But Toby just looked away. 1 mile. Cora's vision started to blur. Hunger, cold, exhaustion. All of it crashing together like a wave she couldn't fight. She stumbled, caught herself. Kept pulling 1.5 miles. Her hands had gone past pain into numbness. Good, numbness was better. Numbness meant she couldn't feel her palms splitting open. 1 3/4 miles. She fell, knees in snow, hands still gripping the travois. Just, for a second, just to breathe. Toby tugged at her sleeve. She looked up, through the trees. A cabin. Not big, 1 room. Maybe 2 log construction. Solid. Built by someone who knew winters. Smoke curled from the chimney. Someone was home. Cora tried to call out. Her voice cracked. Died. She tried again. Help? Barely a whisper. But enough. The cabin door opened. An old man stepped out. 70 if he was a day. Beard down to his chest. Rifle in his hands. He took 1 look at the travois, at Nathaniel, at Toby, at Cora on her knees in the snow. Lord have mercy. He dropped the rifle and ran. His name was Ezra. Old Ezra, he said. Everyone called him Old Ezra. He'd been Nathaniel's friend for 5 years. Since Nathaniel first came to the mountains. Nate told me he was riding down to Fort Collins, Ezra said as he helped Cora drag the travois inside. Buying supplies. Should have been back yesterday. The cabin's interior was warm, blessedly warm. A fire roared in the stone fireplace. Furs covered the floor, dried herbs hung from the rafters, and in the corner, a bed, real bed, not a pile of pine boughs. Ezra and Cora lifted Nathaniel onto it. He didn't wake. How bad? Ezra asked. Head wound. Controlled. Leg. Cora unwrapped the splint. Ezra whistled low. That needs a doctor. Nearest doctor? Silver Creek. 4 days west. He won't last 4 days. Then what do we do? Cora looked at Nathaniel's leg. At the swelling already starting. At the fever she could feel building under his skin. We set it properly. We keep it clean. We pray. You know how to set a bone? No then. But I've watched it done. And I've got steady hands. Mostly steady. She held them out. They only shook a little. Ezra studied her. You got a name, girl? Cordelia. Cora. You got people, Cora? She thought of the farmhouse. Of Silas. Of 7 years turning to ash. No, where were you headed? Silver Creek. You a long way from the Silver Creek Trail. I got lost. In a blizzard? It's been a bad week. Ezra almost smiled. You got grit. I'll give you that. I've got desperation. It looks similar. He did smile then. Sad. Knowing, all right, Miss Cora? You set the bone. I'll boil water and find whiskey. Nate's gonna need both. Setting the bone was a nightmare. Nathaniel woke up screaming. Ezra and Cora held him down while she pulled, felt the bones grind, felt them align, heard Nathaniel's voice break. Then silence. He'd passed out again. Thank God, Cora splinted properly this time. 2 straight branches. Strips of clean cloth. Tight. Secure. Then she cleaned the head wound, stitched it with thread and a sewing needle. Ezra sterilized in flame. 12 stitches. Each one careful. Each one a prayer she didn't know the words to. When she finished, the sun was setting. She'd been awake for how long? She didn't know, didn't care. Cora collapsed in a chair by the fire. Toby climbed into her lap, without asking, without hesitation. Just a small boy who needed to be held. She wrapped her arms around him. He'll be okay, she whispered. Your uncle will be okay. Toby's shoulders shook. Not crying. He couldn't cry, but the grief was there, silent, terrible. Cora held him tighter. Fever hit at midnight. Nathaniel's skin burned. His breathing turned ragged. Delirium set in. Catherine, he mumbled. Catherine, I'm sorry. Who's Catherine? Cora asked Ezra, his wife. Dead 3 years, of course. Cora pressed a cool cloth to Nathaniel's forehead. Shh, you're safe. Should have saved her. Should have. You're safe now. Off his eyes opened gray. Unfocused, who are you? Someone passing through, Angel? Hardly. Too pretty for a demon, Cora snorted. The fevers definitely hit, but Nathaniel's hand found hers. Grip tight. Don't leave. I'm not going anywhere. Promise. She shouldn't promise. She was heading to Silver Creek. She had $8 and no future. This wasn't her cabin. Wasn't her problem. Wasn't her. I promise. Don Nathaniel's fever broke. His breathing eased. His eyes opened clear this time. He looked at Cora. At the bandage on his head. At the splint on his leg. At Toby asleep in her arms. You stayed, I promised. You saved my life, temporarily. The leg might still kill you. Optimistic, realistic. He smiled. Weak. But real. What's your name? Cordelia Whitmore. Cora. Where did you come from, Cora? She thought about lying, making up a story, pretending she was someone with a destination instead of someone running from ruins. But his eyes, gray city and kind despite the pain, deserved truth, nowhere good. Heading nowhere better. Nathaniel studied her. You got people? No, husband? Dead 6 months? Children? The word landed like a punch. No, he must have heard something in her voice, because he didn't push. Just nodded. Where were you headed? Silver Creek, washer. Woman work? 4 days through snow. No supplies. No food. Like I said. Nowhere better. Nathaniel was quiet for a long moment then. Stay. What? Stay here. Help Ezra take care of me. Take care of Toby. I don't know you. You saved my life. That doesn't mean I'll pay you. Cora's breath caught. How much? $5. Plus room and board. Stay until I'm back on my feet. $5 plus food, plus shelter. She could save the $8 she had. Add 5 more. That was enough to what? Start over? Where? Doing what? Why? She asked. Why what? Why do you want me to stay? Nathaniel glanced at Toby. My nephew hasn't spoken since his parents died. 2 years of silence. But he climbed into your lap last night. That's the first time he's trusted anyone's since. He stopped foot. Swallowed. Since the accident. What accident? Not now. Cora looked at Toby, at the boy's face, peaceful in sleep. Young. broken in ways she recognized. "I'm not a miracle worker," she said softly. "I'm not asking for miracles. I'm asking for kindness, kindness. When was the last time anyone asked her for that? When was the last time she had any left to give?" But Toby's weight in her arms felt right, necessary, like maybe she wasn't completely useless after all. "1 month," Cora said. 3, 2, deal. They shook hands. His grip was weak, but his eyes were steady. And for the first time in 6 months, since Elliot died, since Silas took everything, since the word barren became her entire identity, Cora felt like maybe, just maybe, she wasn't drowning anymore. 1 week later, Nathaniel's leg was healing, slowly. The swelling had gone down. No infection, no fever, small the mercies. He could sit up without passing out, could eat solid food, could even joke. "You're a terrible nurse," he said one morning as Cora changed his bandages. "You're a difficult patient, I'm a delight. You're a pain, same thing, Toby." Sitting by the fire whittling a stick. Almost smiled, almost. Cora saw it progress. "What happened to him?" she asked Nathaniel quietly. "Why can't he speak?" Nathaniel's jaw tightened. 2 years ago, my brother, Toby's father, was hauling silver down to Denver. I told him to wait, to let me go with him. But he was stubborn, he stopped, breathed. Bandits hit the wagon. Killed my brother, killed his wife. Toby was hiding in the back. He saw everything. Dear God, he hasn't spoken since. Doctors say there's nothing physically wrong. It's just trauma, yes. Cora looked at Toby, at the careful way he moved, the way his eyes tracked every sound, ready to run, ready to hide. She knew that feeling. He needs time, she said. It's been 2 years. Then he needs more time. Nathaniel studied her. You sound sure I am. Why? Because I know what it's like to lose your voice. Because I spent 7 years being told I was broken. Because silence is easier than fighting. But she didn't say any of that. Just, trust me. The cabin found its rhythm. Cora woke before dawn. Started the fire. Made coffee from grounds Ezra stretched with chicory. Nathaniel would wake shortly after. Grumpy. In pain. Pretending he wasn't. Morning she'd say, debatable he'd answer. Every day. Same exchange. Comforting in its predictability. Breakfast was usually cornmeal mush. Sometimes with dried berries if they were lucky. Toby ate in silence. Always silence. But he'd started sitting closer to Cora progress. After breakfast, Cora would change Nathaniel's bandages. Check the leg, the bone was knitting well. He'd be walking without crutches within a month. You're a good nurse, Nathaniel said. I'm an adequate nurse. Better than the doctor in Silver Creek. That's not saying much. It's saying you have a gift. Cora's hands stilled. Gift. No one had ever called her barrenness a gift before. A curse. A failure. A divine punishment. But not a gift. I'm just doing what needs doing, she said. That's the gift. Afternoons belonged to Toby. Cora would take him outside when the weather allowed. Show him plants. Teach him which ones healed. Which ones killed. This is yarrow, she'd say, holding up dried leaves. Stops bleeding. You chew it into paste and pack it in wounds. Toby would nod, solemn, attentive. This is foxglove. Beautiful. Deadly. Never touch it. He'd lean closer, study it. Threck it later in the margins of paper Ezra scavenged. The boy had an artist's eye, saw details Cora missed. You're good at this, she told him one afternoon. Toby ducked his head. Pleased. Your mother would be proud. He went still, then slowly. So slowly, he reached out. Touched Cora's hand, just for a second. Just long enough. She understood. Thank you, I miss her. You're kind. All in one gentle touch. Cora's throat tightened. I know, sweetheart. I know. She started teaching him other things too. How to identify animal tracks in snow. How to set a simple snare. How to start a fire with damp wood. Survival skills. Mountain skills. Things his father should have taught him. Would have taught him, if bandits hadn't. Cora pushed the thought away, focused on now, on this boy, on giving him tools to survive. One afternoon, Toby brought her something. A carving small bird, intricate, detailed, perfect. You made this? She asked. He nodded. It's beautiful. He ducked his head again, pleased. Embarrassed, can I keep it? Another nod. Cora tucked it in her pocket, felt the weight of it. Proof that broken things could still create beauty. That evening she showed Nathaniel. He gave you this? This afternoon. Nathaniel turned the bird over in his hands, his eyes bright. He hasn't carved anything since his parents died. He used to make these all the time. His father taught him. He's remembering, Cora said softly. Starting to heal. Because of you. Because he's ready. Because you're patient. Nathaniel handed the bird back. Their fingers touched, brief electric. Cora pulled her hand away quickly. Too quickly. Nathaniel noticed. Of course he noticed. But he didn't say anything. Just watched her with those gray eyes. Storm cloud eyes. Seeing too much. Evenings were for Nathaniel. After dinner, usually rabbit or venison Ezra trapped. They'd sit by the fire. Talk. Not about anything important. Just talk. Tell me about your husband. Nathaniel said one night. Cora tensed. Why, curious. Curiosity killed the cat. Good thing I'm not a cat, she almost smiled. Almost. Elliot was kind, she said finally. Weak, but kind. Weak how? He let his family run his life, make his decisions. Tell him what to think, including about you? Especially about me. Nathaniel waited. His mother hated me from the start, Cora continued. Said I wasn't good enough. Wrong family, wrong breeding. But Elliot loved me anyway. Or thought he did. What changed? I didn't get pregnant. The words came out flat, factual, like reporting weather. Year 1, his mother started asking. Year 2, she started suggesting tonics. Year 3, she started praying over me at Sunday dinner. By year 5, Cora stopped, swallowed. By year 5, Elliot stopped looking at me. Started sleeping in the guest room. Started talking about me like I was furniture that didn't match the curtains anymore. He was an idiot. He was disappointed. Same thing. Cora looked at Nathaniel, at his steady gray eyes. You don't understand. In farming families, children are everything. They're labor. They're legacy. They're proof you matter. You matter without children. Not to the Whitmores. Then the Whitmores are idiots too. Despite everything, Cora laughed. It surprised her. The sound of her own laughter, rusty, unused, but real. What about you? She asked. Catherine, did you want children? Nathaniel's expression softened. We tried. For 5 years. Nothing. The doctor said she was fine. I was fine. Just bad luck. I'm sorry. Don't be. We had each other. That was enough, was it? Cora wanted to ask, was it really? Or did you lie awake at night, wondering what was wrong with you? But she didn't ask. Some wounds were private. The fire crackled. Outside, wind moaned through pines, comfortable silence. Until Nathaniel spoke again. You're not planning to stay, are you? The question caught her off guard. What? After 2 months. Islius. You're going to leave. It was a statement. Cora pulled her shawl. What was left of it? Tighter. That was the deal. Deals can change, not this one. Why not? Because I don't belong here. You've belonged here more in 1 week than most people do in a lifetime. That's not true. Toby trusts you. Ezra likes you. He stopped, started over. You fit. I'm temporary help. Nothing more. Is that what you think? That's what I know. Nathaniel leaned forward, his eyes intense. What if I asked you to stay? Really stay. Not for 2 months. Not as hired help. But as don't what? Don't say things we'll both regret. I won't regret it, I will. She stood up, walked to the door, needed air, needed distance. Needed to remember this wasn't real. Couldn't be real. Behind her, Nathaniel's voice. Kwaku, hurt. Why are you so afraid? She didn't turn around because hope is dangerous. And I can't afford to hope anymore. She walked outside, left him sitting by the fire, alone. Week 3, the nightmares started. Cora woke to screaming, not hers, Toby's. She ran to his corner of the cabin. Found him tangled in blankets. Eyes wide, mouth open in silent shrieks. No sound, never sound. Just terror carved into a 5-year-old face. Toby. Toby, sweetheart, wake up. She gathered him into her arms. He fought, thrashed, still caught in whatever horror his mind was replaying. You're safe. You're here. You're with me. Slowly, so slowly, he calmed. His breathing evened, his fists unclenched. And then he clung, small arms around her neck shaking. Silent sobs. Cora held him, rocked him. Hummed a lullaby her mother used to sing. Across the cabin, Nathaniel watched, propped up on one elbow, fuss unreadable in the firelight. When Toby finally slept, Cora carried him back to his bed, tucked him in. Kissed his forehead, turned to find Nathaniel still watching. What? she whispered. Nothing. That's not a nothing face. You're good with him. I'm adequate with him. There's that word again. Adequate? It's accurate. It's modest. Cora sat by the fire, exhausted, wrung out. He's dreaming about his parents, she said quietly. About the attack, I know. How often? Every night for the first year. Now maybe twice a week. That's why he doesn't sleep in a bed. Nathaniel nodded. He sleeps light, ready to run. Just like in the wagon. What did the doctors say? That he'd grow out of it. That time heals. Do you believe that? No. Honest. Cora appreciated honest. Neither do I, she said. Some things don't heal. They just scar over. Nathaniel studied her. You sound experienced, I am. Want to talk about it? No, fair enough. They sat in comfortable silence. The fire crackled. Outside, wind moaned through pines. Thank you, Nathaniel said finally. For what? For caring about him. You didn't have to. He's a child. Of course I care. Not everyone would, Cora thought of Silas. Of the way he'd called her barren like it was her name. Of 7 years of feeling worthless. Maybe I needed someone to care about, she said quietly. Maybe he's saving me as much as I'm helping him. Nathaniel's hand found hers. Warm rough from work. Real, then we're all saving each other. She didn't pull away this time, just sat there, holding his hand in the firelight, letting herself feel, just for a moment, just for now. Week 4, Ezra returned from Silver Creek with supplies. And news. Luther Graves is asking questions, the old man said as he unpacked flour and salt. About Nate, about the mine, about anyone new in the area. Cora's stomach dropped. Did you tell him anything? Told him I'm a crazy old hermit who don't know nothing about nothing. Did he believe you? Ezra snorted. Course not. But he can't prove otherwise. Nathaniel leaned forward in his chair, still using crutches, but stronger every day. What else? There's a new judge in Silver Creek, Preston Webb. Heard of him? Nathaniel's expression darkened. Unfortunately, he's Luther's man. Appointed last month. Already ruled in favor of Grise Mining Company 3 times. On what grounds? Whatever grounds Luther wants, Cora frowned. Can he do that? Out here? Ezra shrugged. Law's whoever has the most guns and the best lawyers. Luther's got both, so what do we do? Cora asked. We wait, Nathaniel said. For what? For him to make a mistake, and if he doesn't? Nathaniel's smile was grim. Then we make him. That night, Cora couldn't sleep. She lay in her corner of the cabin, listening to Toby's quiet breathing, to Ezra's snoring, to Nathaniel shifting restlessly in his bed. They were in danger, real danger. And she'd walked right into it. Should have kept going to Silver Creek, should have found work, should have stayed alone. Safer that way. Except she looked at Toby, at the small carved bird on the shelf beside her bedroll, the gift he'd made, proof she mattered to someone. Maybe that was worth the risk. Maybe. A sound. Outside. Footsteps in snow. Cora sat up. Heart pounding. Reached for the knife she kept under her pillow. Ezra was already awake. Shotgun in hand, moving to the window. Nathaniel struggled to stand. His rifle propped beside the bed. The footsteps stopped. Right outside the door, silence, then a knock. Not aggressive, not threatening, just a knock. Ezra looked at Nathaniel. Nathaniel nodded. The old man opened the door. A man stood there young. Maybe 25. Dressed in buckskin, foxet gaunt. Eyes haunted. I need help, he said. Then collapsed. His name was Daniel Curtis. Prospector. He'd been working a claim 15 miles south when Luther Graves' men showed up. They said the land was theirs. Daniel gasped as Cora cleaned a knife wound in his side. Had papers. Legal papers. Said I was trespassing, were you? Nathaniel asked. No, I filed proper. Had my claim registered in Denver. But they didn't care. Cora pressed a cloth to the wound, not deep, but infected. He'd been running for days. What happened? They tried to kill me, said accidents happen in the mountains. No witnesses. No questions. Daniel winced as Cora applied yarrow paste. I got away. Barely. Been hiding. Moving at night. Then I saw your cabin. Why come here? Ezra asked. You don't know us. I know Nathaniel Blackwood. Everyone knows about the mountain man who won't sell. Daniel looked at Nathaniel. They're coming for you next. Luther's done taking no for an answer. Let come. You don't understand. He's got 20 men, maybe more. All armed. All willing to do whatever he says. 20 men can't take this cabin. They don't have to. They just have to wait you out. No supplies. No food. Eventually you'll have to go to town. And when you do, Daniel didn't need to. Cora's hands trembled as she bandaged his wound. 20 men. They had 3, 4 if you counted Toby, which you couldn't. The math was impossible. How long do we have? Nathaniel asked.
Week.
Maybe 2. Luther's gathering his men now. Waiting for spring thaw to make the trail easier. Spring's still 6 weeks away, which gives us 6 weeks to prepare. Daniel tried to sit up, failed. Or 6 weeks to run. Nathaniel's jaw set. I don't run. Then you're a dead man, maybe. But I'll be a dead man on my own land. Cora wanted to scream. Stubborn. Foolish. Male pride that would get them all killed. But she said nothing, just finished the bandage. Helped Daniel to a bed, let him sleep. Then she cornered Nathaniel. We need to talk, not now. Yes, now. She dragged him outside, away from Ezra, away from Toby, into the cold night air. You can't fight 20 men. I can try. You'll die, maybe, definitely. Then I'll die defending what's mine. Cora grabbed his arm. And what about Toby? What about him? That stopped Nathaniel. His face went pale. I'll send him away. To Denver. To who? He has no one. You're all he has. Then I'll find someone. There is no someone. There's you. And if you die being stubborn, he loses the only family he has left. Nathaniel pulled away. What do you want me to do? Sell? Give Luther everything? Let him win? I want you to live. At what cost? Any cost. The words came out louder than she intended. Desperate calm. Nathaniel stared at her. Why do you care so much? Because. She stopped. Couldn't say it. Couldn't admit what she'd been trying not to feel. Because you're my employer. She finished lamely. That's not why it is. Then why are you crying? She touched her face. Wet, damn it. I'm not. He stepped closer. Cora. Tell me the truth. I can't. Why not? Because if I say it out loud, it becomes real. And if it's real, I can lose it. And I can't. I can't lose anything else. Nathaniel cupped her face. Gentle. What if you don't lose it? What if you gain something instead? That's not how my life works. Maybe it's time it did. He kissed her, soft at first, then deeper, desperate. 2 broken people trying to hold on to something good. When they broke apart, Cora was shaking. This is a mistake. Probably. We're going to die, maybe. You're impossible. And you're beautiful. She kissed him again. Harder this time, trying to memorize the feeling. Just in case this was all they'd ever have. The next morning, they made plans. Daniel's wound was healing. He'd stay, help defend the cabin. 4 men now, still not enough, but better. Nathaniel drew a map in the dirt. The cabin sits on high ground. Good vantage point. We can see anyone approaching from 3 sides. What about the 4th? Ezra asked. Sheer cliff. No way up, so we defend 3 approaches. With 4 rifles and limited ammunition. Daniel traced lines in the dirt. We set traps. Snares, tripwires. Make them work for every foot. That'll slow them down, Nathaniel said. Not stop them. Doesn't have to stop them. Just has to make them think twice. Cora listened, trying to contribute. But what did she know about war? About defending? She knew herbs. Knew healing. Knew how to keep people alive after they were hurt. Not how to keep them from getting hurt in the first place. What about supplies? She asked. If we're under siege, how long can we last? Ezra counted on his fingers. Food for maybe 3 weeks. Water from the well. Ammunition for. He looked at Nathaniel, 200 rounds. Split 4 ways, 50 shots each. Against 20 men. The math got worse every time they did it. We need help, Cora said. Other miners, other settlers. Someone. Can't trust them, Nathaniel said. Luther might have bought them off. All of them? Enough of them. Cora stood, paced. Then we need a different plan. Something they won't expect. Like what? She turned. An idea forming. Terrible. Risky, maybe brilliant. We go to them first. Silence. Then, what? From Nathaniel. We don't wait for them to come here. We go to Silver Creek. We face Luther in public. In front of witnesses. He owns the judge. He owns one judge. But there's federal law. U.S. Marshals. We go over his head. Daniel shook his head. Marshals are 3 days away in Fort Collins. By the time they respond, we're dead. Then we make them respond faster. How? Cora took a breath. We give them proof. Real proof. Of what Luther's doing. She looked at Daniel. You have your claim papers? In my saddlebag. Why? Because that's proof Luther's stealing land. Add it to Nathaniel's claim. Add testimony from other miners. Luther's run off. That's a pattern. That's federal. Nathaniel stood slowly, understanding dawning. You want to build a case? I want to bury him. It'll take weeks. We have 6. It's dangerous. More dangerous than waiting here to die? He studied her. Those gray eyes, calculating, weighing finally. It might work. It will work. You sound sure. I'm desperate. It looks similar. He almost smiled. Almost. All right. We build a case. We go to Fort Collins. We bring federal law down on Luther's head. And if it doesn't work? Ezra asked. Nathaniel picked up his rifle, chalked the sight. Then we come back here and make our stand. That afternoon, Cora found Toby in his usual spot, by the fire, whittling, creating small perfect things from broken wood. She sat beside him, watched his hands work. Careful, precise. We might have to leave soon, she said quietly. His hands stilled, just for a little while. To Silver Creek. Then Fort Collins, he looked at her. Eyes wide, scared, it'll be dangerous. But your uncle thinks it's our best chance. Toby's mouth moved, the old familiar pattern, silent words. But then, something different, his throat worked, his lip-shaped sounds, and, finally, don't go. Whisper quiet, barely audible, but real, actual words. Cora's breath caught Toby. Did you just... Don't go, louder this time, clearer. Don't... Leave me? She pulled him into her arms, held him tight. Oh, sweetheart, we're not leaving you. Never. You're coming with us. Promise? I promise. He buried his face in her shoulder. I'm scared, me too. What if bad men come? Then we'll protect you, like you protected Uncle Nate? Exactly like that, he pulled back. Looked at her with those 2 old eyes. You won't let them hurt me? Never? Promise? I promise. He hugged her again. Tighter this time and whispered, I love you. 3 words, simple, perfect, devastating. Cora's eyes burned. I love you too, sweetheart. So much. Across the cabin, Nathaniel had stopped moving. Ezra had frozen mid-step. Daniel stared. They'd all heard. Toby speaking. For the first time in 2 years. Nathaniel crossed the cabin. Knelt beside them. Toby? Buddy? The boy turned. Uncle Nate? His voice stronger now. Find itself. I can talk again. I hear you. I hear you, buddy. Nathaniel pulled both of them into his arms. The 3 of them, holding each other. A family. Not by blood, not by law, but by choice, by love, by showing up when it mattered. That night, Nathaniel wrote a letter to the U.S. Marshal in Fort Collins. Cora watched him work. His handwriting was surprisingly neat, precise. He detailed everything. Luther Graves' threats, the ambush that broke his leg, Daniel Curtis's attack, the pattern of land theft. When he finished, he showed it to Cora. Will it be enough? She read it carefully. It's a start. But we need more. Like what? Physical evidence. Witnesses. Documentation. We have Daniel's claim papers. That's one claim. We need more. Ezra spoke up from his corner. I know 3 other miners. Luther ran off. They might talk. Can you find them? Give me a week. We don't have a week. Then give me 3 days. Nathaniel nodded. Do it. Find them. Get their statements. Ezra grabbed his coat, leaving now. Before Luther puts more men on the roads, he was gone within minutes. Just like that, leaving them more vulnerable, but also more prepared. Cora helped Nathaniel seal the letter. Their hands touched electric. Always electric. You should rest, she said. Can't. Too much to do, your leg is fine, is going to give out if you don't take care of it. He looked at her, really looked. When did you start caring so much? I don't know. Somewhere between digging you out of snow and... She stopped, couldn't finish. And what? And falling in love with you. The words slipped out. Unquarted, true. Nathaniel went very still. Say that again. I can't. You just did. That was a mistake. Was it? Cora stood. Needed distance. Needed air. I shouldn't have said anything. Why not? Because we're about to ride into danger. Because we might die. Because he stood too. Crossed to her. Because, what? Because I'm barren. Because you deserve someone who can give you children. A real family. I have Toby. That's not the same, isn't it? He took her hands. Both of them. Held tight, Cora. I don't need more children. I need you. Exactly as you are. Broken pieces and all. I'm not enough. You're more than enough. You don't know that, I do. Because, for the first time in 3 years, I want to wake up tomorrow. And the day after. And every day after that. Because you'll be there. Tears burned her eyes. What if I fail you? What if I can't? Can't what? Can't be what you need? You already are. He kissed her, soft, certain, like a promise. Like a future. When he pulled back, Cora was crying. I'm scared, me too. What if this doesn't work? What if it does? She kissed him again, harder, desperate, trying to memorize everything. The taste of him, the feel of him, the warmth. Just in case. Just in case tomorrow they died. At least they'd have tonight. 3 days later, Ezra returned, with 3 men, miners, rough-weathered, angry. This is Jacob, Marcus, and Tom, Ezra said. All had claims stolen by Luther Graves. The men nodded, grim. Tell them, Ezra said. Jacob went first, had a claim up north. Been working it 2 years. Luther's men showed up. Said the land was his. I showed my papers. They burned them. Told me to leave or they'd bury me. Marcus second. Same story. Different location. They didn't even pretend to have papers. Just guns. Tom third. I fought back. They broke my arm. Left me in the snow. Would have died if a trapper hadn't found me. Nathaniel wrote it all down. Every detail, every name, every date. Building a case. Line by line. Will you testify? He asked. The men looked at each other. Nervous, scared. Finally Jacob spoke. If you promise to take him down. Really take him down. Not just slap his wrist, I promise. Then yeah. We'll testify. Relief flooded through Cora. This might actually work. They might actually survive. That night, they prepared to leave, packed supplies. Ammunition, Donk's testimony, everything they'd need. Toby helped, talking now, not constantly. But enough. Are we really going? He asked Cora. We are. Will it be dangerous? Yes. Will you keep me safe? She knelt, eye level. I will do everything in my power to keep you safe. I promise. What if it's not enough? Honest question. Deserved honest answer. Then we fight together. All of us. As a family, he hugged her. Tight, I'm glad you stayed. Me too, sweetheart. Nathaniel appeared beside them. We leave at dawn. Everyone gets some rest, but Cora couldn't rest. Too much nervous energy. Too much fear. Too much hope. She stepped outside, into the cold night, stars overhead, million of them. Indifferent to human struggles, beautiful anyway. Footsteps behind her, Nathaniel. Always Nathaniel. Can't sleep? He asked. Too much to think about. Want to share? She leaned against him, let herself be held. I keep thinking about tomorrow. About what could go wrong, me too. But also what could go right, like we win. Like we beat Luther. Like we come home safe, and then what? She looked at him, and then we build something, you and me and Toby. Something real, a family? A family, he kissed her soft, sweet, perfect. I like that plan. Me too, they stood there, under the stars, holding each other, not knowing if they'd survive tomorrow, but hoping, finally hoping. Dawn came cold. They rode out in a group, Nathaniel, Cora, Toby, Daniel, Ezra, and the 3 miners. 8 people against Luther Graves and everything he represented. The odds were still bad, but better, much better. The first day passed uneventfully. Just riding, Toby sat in front of Cora talking, asking questions. Why is the sky blue? How do birds fly? Where does snow come from? Questions a 5-year-old should have been asking for years. Making up for lost time. Cora answered what she could, made up the rest. Didn't matter. He just wanted to hear her voice, wanted to practice his own. By afternoon, her throat was sore, but her heart was full. That night, they camped beside a frozen stream, built a fire, shared food. The miners told stories, rough, humor, survival tales. Toby listened, wide-eyed, learning what it meant to be a man in these mountains. Hard, dangerous, but also loyal, brave, worth something. Before bed, Nathaniel pulled Cora aside. Thank you. For what? For this. For believing we could do it. We haven't done it yet, but we're trying. That's more than I was doing. She touched his face. You were surviving. Sometimes that's all you can do, and now? Now we're living. He kissed her deep, passionate, promising tomorrow. And all the days after, if they survived. When they survived, they had to survive. February 11th, 1857. Second day on the trail. They were crossing a narrow valley when it happened. Trees thick on both sides. Perfect cover, perfect trap. The first shot missed Nathaniel by inches. The second hit Ezra's horse. The animal screamed. Went down hard. Ezra rolled clear. Barely down, Nathaniel shouted. Cora grabbed Toby, pulled him off the horse behind a boulder, her heart trying to punch through her ribs. The boy's eyes were wide. Terrified didn't make a sound training from 2 years ago. Survival instinct. Hose. Stay quiet. Live. More shots. 3, 4, 5 from the tree line. Multiple shooters. Nathaniel returned fire, his rifle cracking sharp in the cold air. The miners scattered, finding cover, firing back. Daniel crawled to Ezra. You hit? Grazed. I'm good. Blood on his arm said otherwise. But he was alive. That counted how many Nathaniel called, at least 4, maybe 5. Luther's men? Who else? Another volley of shots, closer this time. They were advancing. Cora pressed Toby against the boulder, covered him with her body. Stay down. Don't move, I'm scared, I know. Me too. But we're going to be okay. Lie, maybe lie. She didn't know. A voice from the trees, rough. Aggressive, Blackwood! Give up the mine and we let you walk away. Nathaniel didn't answer, just reloaded, aimed, fired. Someone in the trees screamed. Hit, that's 1 down. Jacob muttered. 4 to go, Marcus said. The math was still bad. Getting worse. Cora looked around desperately. They were pinned. Outnumbered, running out of ammunition, and then hoofbeats from behind them. More riders. Oh God, they were surrounded. Cora closed her eyes. This was it. This was how it ended. Not in a courtroom. Not with justice. Just bullets and blood and... U.S. Marshal, drop your weapons. Her eyes flew open. 6 riders. Badges glinting in weak sunlight. Federal law. Real law. The shooting stopped. Luther's men broke cover in. The marshals pursued. Horses thundering through snow. Shouts. More gunfire. Then silence. Within minutes it was over. 3 men captured. 1 dead in the trees. 1 escaped. The lead marshal, tall, graying, weathered, dismounted. Walked to Nathaniel. You Blackwood? I am. Marshal James Harding. Got word there might be trouble on this road. Nathaniel frowned. Who told you? Anonymous tip. Letter delivered to Fort Collins 3 days ago. I didn't send any letter. Not yet. Didn't say you did. Harding looked at Cora, at Toby pressed against her, at Ezra bleeding from his arm, at the miners standing with rifles ready. You folks heading to Silver Creek? For the trial. Tomorrow. Figured as much. Harding jerked his thumb at the captured men. These boys were real talkative once we mentioned federal charges. Said Luther Graves hired them to make sure you didn't make it to court. Can you prove it? We got signed contracts, payment records, even a letter from Graves himself with instructions. Nathaniel went very still. You're sure? Sure enough to arrest him. Which we're doing. Right now, relief crashed through Cora, so powerful it made her dizzy. They'd won before even getting to Silver Creek. They'd won. They rode into Silver Creek with a federal escort, like conquering heroes or prisoners, hard to tell the difference. The town was small. Maybe 200 people, 1 main street, false front buildings weathered by mountain winters, saloon, general store, blacksmith, and at the end, 2 stories, white paint peeling, but official real. A crowd had gathered. Word traveled fast in small towns. Nathaniel Blackwood was back, with proof, with marshals, with a reckoning. Luther Graves stood on the courthouse steps, tall, silver-haired, expensive suit. Everything about him screamed money and power, but his face, pale, trapped, furious beside him. Judge Preston Webb Younger, nervous, realizing his bought and paid for position just became worthless. Marshal Harding dismounted, walked straight to Luther. No hesitation, no fear. Luther Graves, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, bribery, and fraud. The crowd gasped. Actual gasps like a theater performance. Luther's composure cracked, just slightly, just enough. This is absurd. I'm a respected businessman. You can't just... I can. I am. Harding pulled out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. Though based on how much your hired guns talked, I'd recommend it. 2 deputies took Luther's arms, led him down the steps. He went quietly, but his eyes, fixed on Nathaniel, promising revenge, promising this wasn't over, except it was, because the marshals had evidence, had witnesses, had everything. Judge Webb tried to slip away. Harding stopped him, one hand on the young judge's shoulder. "Not so fast, Judge. We got questions about some of your rulings. Funny how they all favored Mr. Graves. That's just coincidence." Federal investigators don't believe in coincidence. Webb's face went gray. The crowd murmured, excited, scandalized. This was better than Sunday's sermon. Cora dismounted, helped Toby down. The boy clung to her hand, watching everything with wide eyes. "Is it over?" he whispered. "Almost. We're safe?" Getting safer, Nathaniel approached them, limping slightly, his leg tired from riding, but his face peaceful. For the first time since she'd met him, actually peaceful. "They're taking him to Denver," he said. "Federal trial. He won't be back, are you sure?" "As sure as I can be." Cora wanted to collapse, from relief, from exhaustion, from weeks of fear finally releasing. But she stayed standing, had to, for Toby, for Nathaniel, for herself. "What now?" she asked. "Now we testify. Make it official. Make sure he can't wiggle out. And then?" Nathaniel's hand found hers. "Then we go home." Home, the word settled in her chest warm. Right, true. The trial happened anyway. But different, fair. A circuit judge from Denver arrived the next morning. Older. Stern, no connection to Luther. No connection to anyone. Just the law. He reviewed the evidence. Nathaniel's original claim. Filed 3 years ago, Luther's counterclaim. Filed 6 months ago, the survey maps, the witness statements. The testimony from Daniel and the 3 miners, as Ezra testified first. His arm bandaged, but his voice strong. "I was with Nate when he found that silver. December 1853. I helped him stake the claim. Helped him file the paperwork. That mine's his." No question, Luther's lawyer. Expensive, smooth, desperate, tried to poke holes. "But you're his friend. Of course you'd lie for him. I'm a lot of things. Liar ain't one of them." The judge banged his gavel. The witnesses excused, then Daniel. Then the miners, each one telling the same story. Luther Graves stole land. Used violence, corrupted the law, built an empire on other people's work. Finally, Cora. She stood, walked to the witness box. Her hands shaking. Her voice steady. "State your name." "Cordelia Whitmore." "Your relationship to the defendant?" "Defendant, wrong word." "Nathaniel, what's the criminal here?" I work for Mr. Blackwood. Helping care for his nephew. How long?" 6 weeks. "So you weren't present when the original claim was filed?" "No." "Then what can you testify to?" Cora took a breath. "I can testify that Luther Graves sent armed men to kill Mr. Blackwood. That those men attacked us on the road. That they admitted, before federal marshals, that Graves hired them." The lawyer stood. Objection. "Hearsay." "Overruled," the judge says. "The marshal's report confirms her statement." "Continue, Mrs. Whitmore." "Mrs." She didn't correct him. "Liked the sound of it even if it wasn't true." "Yet?" "I can also testify that Mr. Blackwood is an honest man. That he's worked that mine for 3 years. That he's employed local men, paid fair wages, contributed to this community, and Luther Graves has contributed nothing but threats. Violence and corruption." The courtroom erupted, people shouting. Some for Luther, most against. The judge banged his gavel hard, repeatedly. "Order, order, or I'll clear this room." Silence fell. Grudging, tense, Cora stepped down, met Nathaniel's eyes. He mouthed, "Thank you." She nodded, sat beside Toby. The boy's hand found hers, squeezed. "You were brave," he whispered. "So are you." The closing arguments were brief. The evidence was overwhelming. The verdict came fast. The judge barely deliberated, based on the evidence presented. "I find in favor of the plaintiff, Nathaniel Blackwood. The mine is his. The counterclaim is dismissed. Furthermore, I'm recommending federal charges against Luther Graves for fraud, attempted murder, and corruption of a federal judge." The gavel fell. Final Donlasut justice. Real justice? Nathaniel's shoulders sagged, relief washing through him. Ezra whooped. Toby jumped up and down. And Cora just breathed. They'd done it. Against all odds. Against money and power and corruption. They'd won. Outside the courthouse, people gathered, congratulating Nathaniel, shaking his hand, apologizing for doubting him. He handled it gracefully. But Cora could see the exhaustion, the toll this fight had cost him. Cost all of them. She found him an hour later, behind the courthouse, sitting on a bench. Alone, you okay? She asked. I should be celebrating. But I'm just tired. She sat beside him close, not touching, but close. You did it, we did it, you kept your mine. I kept my pride. Not sure that's the same thing. Cora looked at him, really looked. What do you mean? Nathaniel sighed, ran a hand through his hair. The mine's worth maybe 10,000. Luther offered 50. Even after lawyer fees and rebuilding my reputation, I'd have come out ahead if I'd just sold. But you didn't want to sell. No. Why? He was quiet for a long time. Then, because if I sold, I'd have nothing. No purpose. No reason to get up in the morning. Just money and emptiness. You'd have freedom, I'd have nothing. Cora understood, more than he knew. What now? She asked. Now I go back to the cabin. Keep working the mine. Live small. Stay alive. Alone? The word hung between them. He lolled. Nathaniel turned, met her eyes. That depends on whether you're still leaving in 4 weeks. Her breath caught. 4 weeks. That's all that was left of their deal. 4 weeks until she walked away, started over, became nobody again. I don't know. She whispered. What don't you know? If I can stay, why not? Because I'm barren. Because you deserve someone who can give you children. A real family. I have Toby. That's not the same, isn't it? Nathaniel took her hands, both of them, held tight. Cora. I don't need more children. I need you, exactly as you are. Broken pieces and all, I'm not enough. You're more than enough. You don't know that, I do. Because for the first time in 3 years, I want to wake up tomorrow, and the day after, and every day after that. Because you'll be there. Tears burned her eyes. What if I fail you? What if I can't what? Can't be what you need? You already are. He kissed her, self-certain, like a promise, like a future. When he pulled back, Cora was crying. I'm scared. Me too. What if this doesn't work? What if it does? She kissed him back, harder, desperate, trying to believe, trying to hope, trying to trust that maybe, just maybe, she deserved this. That night they stayed at Silver Creek's only boarding house. 2 rooms, one for Cora and Toby, one for Nathaniel and Ezra, proper, respectable. Expected. Cora lay in the dark, Toby asleep beside her. His breathing soft and even, peaceful healing. She thought about Nathaniel's words, about staying, about building something, about being enough. Could she? Could she let go of 7 years of being told she was worthless? Could she believe that one man's love was real? That one boy's trust was enough? That she mattered? A knock at the door, soft, almost silent. She got up, careful not to wake Toby. Open it. Nathaniel stood there, dressed, fully clothed, but his eyes, vulnerable, desperate, determined. I can't sleep, he said. Neither can I. Can we talk? Out here? Anywhere. They walked downstairs, sat in the empty parlor. The fire burned low, casting shadows, creating privacy. Nathaniel paced, nervous, which was strange. She'd seen him face armed men without flinching. Federal judges, look, death itself. But now, his hands shook. I need to tell you something, he said. Okay, when Catherine died, I wanted to die too. Didn't see the point of keeping going. But I had the mine, had the work. So I kept moving. He paused, gathered himself. Then Samuel and Emma died, and I had Toby, this broken, silent boy who needed me. So I kept moving. For him, Nathaniel. But it wasn't living. It was just surviving, day after day. Empty. Until you, he stopped pacing. Looked at her. You showed up in a blizzard, saved my life, healed my nephew, made me laugh, made me want what? Everything. A future, a family, a reason. Cora's throat tightened. I don't know if I can give you that. You already have. But children are wonderful. But not necessary. What's necessary is you. Here, with me, with Toby. Building something real. What if I'm not enough? Stop saying that. It's true. It's a lie you've been told. So many times you believe it. He moved closer. Knelt on the floor in front of her. Let me tell you the truth. You're brave. You're kind. You're smart. You're beautiful. And you're more than enough. I want to believe you. Then believe. He reached into his pocket, pulled out something small. A ring, Sybil's silver, handmade. It's not fancy, he said. I made it myself from silver, from the mine. It's rough and imperfect and it's beautiful, like you. She laughed, cried. Both, Cora. I know we've only known each other 6 weeks. I know you're scared. I know this is fast and crazy and probably stupid, but I also know I don't want to spend another day without you." He took her hand. "Marry me. Not because you have to, not because you owe me, but because you want to. Because we're better together than apart. Because Toby needs a mother. And I need a wife. And you need a family that sees your worth." Cora couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel. "I can't have children," she said. "I know. I might never be able to. I know. Doesn't that matter? Not even a little." She looked at the ring, at his face, at the hope and fear and love written there. 7 years of being called barren, of being told she wasn't enough, of believing it. And now, this man, this broken, beautiful man, and offering her everything, asking for nothing except her, just her. "Yes, yes, yes, I'll marry you." He slipped the ring on her finger, perfect fit. Of course it was. He stood, pulled her into his arms, kissed her like she was air and he'd been drowning, like she was home and he'd been lost, like she was everything. When they broke apart, both were crying. "I love you," he said. "I love you too. We're going to be okay. We're going to be better than okay. We're going to be happy. Yes." Footsteps on the stairs. They pulled apart. Guilty, but not sorry. Toby stood there, in his nightshirt, rubbing his eyes. I heard voices. Are you getting married?" Cora knelt. Eye level. "Yes, sweetheart. We are." His face lit up. Pure joy. "Really? Really? Does that mean you're staying? Forever?" "Forever." He ran to her, threw his arms around her neck. "You're going to be my ma?" The word hit her ma. Not Cora ma. "If you want me to be, I do. I do want that." She held him tight. This boy, this broken, healing, perfect boy, who'd given her back her voice when she'd lost her own. Nathaniel joined them, arms around both, the three of them. A family, not by blood, not by law, not yet, but by choice, by love, by showing up when it mattered. They were married 3 weeks later, by Reverend Josiah Webb. No relation to the corrupt judge. Different Webb entirely. At the cabin, in front of Ezra and Daniel and the 3 miners who'd ridden over. Small ceremony, Sybil perfect. Cora wore a dress made from fabric. Nathaniel bought in Silver Creek blue. Like Mountain sewn it herself, not fancy. But hers, made with her own hands, for her own wedding. Her own choice. Nathaniel wore clean buckskins, his hair combed, his face shaved, looking almost civilized. Almost, the scar above his eyebrow caught the light. Reminder of how they'd met, of what they'd survived. Toby stood beside them, holding the rings, both made from silver, both imperfect, both beautiful. The ceremony was short, the vows traditional. But when Nathaniel said, "I do," his voice broke, just barely, just enough. And when Cora said, "I do," she meant it with every broken piece of her heart, every scar, every failure, every hope, all of it. They kissed, husband and wife. Ezra cheered. Toby threw pine needles. Makeshift rice, perfect anyway. The celebration was simple. Venison stew, fresh bread, whiskey for the men, tea for Cora, stories and laughter. Joy in a small cabin in the mountains. Joy that had been missing for so long. That night, after everyone left, after Toby fell asleep, after the fire burned low, Nathaniel and Cora stood on the porch, looking at the stars, million of them, indifferent to human struggles, beautiful anyway. "Happy?" he asked. "Terrified," she answered honestly. "Why?" "Because I've never been this happy. Which means I have this much to lose." He pulled her closer. "Then we'll be terrified together." She smiled against his chest. "Deal." They went inside, to their room, their bed, their life. Together. Spring came slowly to the mountains, but it came, snow melted. Creeks ran high. Wildflowers appeared in impossible places. Life returning, Cora planted a garden. Small, just herbs and vegetables, but hers. First garden of her own. Eve Toby helped, digging, planting, talking nonstop about everything and nothing. Making up for lost time. "Ma," he said one afternoon. The word still made her heart skip. Every time. "Yes, sweetheart. Can I ask you something?" "Anything. Do you think my real ma would like you?" Cora's eyes burned. She pulled him into her lap, held him close. "I think she'd be grateful. That someone loves you as much as I do. Do you think she's watching?" "I know she is." "How do you know?" "Because if I were her, wild horses couldn't keep me from watching over you." Toby nestled closer. I wish I had two maws. My first ma and you. You do, baby. You do. He was quiet for a moment. Then, I'm glad you can't have babies. Cora went still. What? If you had your own baby, you might not love me as much. Her throat closed. Oh, sweetheart. No. That's not, she stopped, started over. Toby. Look at me, he did. Those gray eyes. So like his uncle's. I will always love you, whether I have other children or not. You're my son. Not because I gave birth to you, but because I choose you. Every day. That's what makes you mine. Really? Really? He hugged her. Tight, I choose you too, Ma. Perfect, so perfect. Summer brought prosperity. The mine produced well. Nathaniel hired 3 men from Silver Creek. Good men. Honest, the silver flowed steady. Not a fortune, but enough, more than enough. They expanded the cabin. Added a second room for Toby, gave him space, privacy, a place to grow. And at night, Cora and Nathaniel had their own space too. Their own room, their own bed, their own life. Together. Happy? He asked one night. They lay tangled, warm climbed. More than I ever thought possible, she answered. Even without, especially without, anything else. This is enough. He pulled her closer. I love you too. But then, one morning in late summer, Cora woke feeling strange. Not sick, just off. Her stomach churned, her head spun. She ran outside, vomited behind the thick Ben Nathaniel. Found her 5 minutes later. You okay? Fine. Just something I ate. But the next morning, same thing. And the morning after that, Ezra watched her with knowing eyes. How late are you, girl? Cora froze. What? Your monthlies. How late? She counted back. 6 weeks, maybe 7. But that couldn't mean she'd been late before. Many times. Hope and disappointment on repeat for 7 years. Don't, she whispered. Don't what? Don't make me hope. But Ezra just smiled. I've seen enough pregnant women to know the signs. And you, girl, are showing them. She waited another week, then 2. The nausea continued. Her breasts grew tender. Her body changed in subtle ways. Ways she'd imagined 1,000 times. Prayed for, cried over. Finally, she told Nathaniel. They were alone, Toby asleep, Ezra in town. Just the 2 of them, I think. She started. Started again. I might be pregnant. The words hung in the air. Impossible. Terrifying. Wonderful. Nathaniel went very still. Are you sure? No, maybe. I don't know. How late are you? 9 weeks. His eyes widened. 9 weeks? I didn't want to say anything. Didn't want to get your hopes up. Didn't want to believe it myself. He crossed to her. Took her hands. How do you feel? Scared. Sick. Happy. Confused. All at once? All at once, huh? He laughed. Pulled her into his arms. A baby. Maybe. Don't count on it yet. Why not? Because I've disappointed people before. I can't do that to you. He cupped her face. Made her look at him. Listen to me. If you're pregnant, it's a miracle. If you're not, I still have you. Either way, I win, but a baby would be wonderful, but not necessary. You're necessary. You're enough. She kissed him, desperate, grateful, afraid. I love you. I love you too. 3 months later, January 1858, Cora's belly swelled. Unmistakable now. Undeniable. A baby, actually a baby, after 7 years of emptiness, after being called barren, after giving up hope. Here it was, life. Growing inside her. She stood before the small mirror Nathaniel had bought, touching the curve, still not believing, still afraid to believe. Ma? Toby appeared beside her. Yes, sweetheart? Is the baby gonna be okay? I hope so. Are you scared? Terrified. He took her hands, small fingers. Strong grip. Don't be. You're the bravest person I know. She knelt, awkward with her belly, but needing to be eye level. You know what makes me brave? What? You. And your father. And this baby. All of you make me brave. He hugged her, careful of her stomach. I can't wait to be a big brother. You're going to be amazing. Winter was hard, the pregnancy harder. Cora's body ached. Her back hurt, her feet swelled. But she'd never been happier. Every kick, every flutter, every reminder that life grew inside her. Proof that she wasn't broken. Never was, just waiting. For the right time, the right man, the right life. Nathaniel was attentive. Almost too attentive. You should rest. I'm fine. You're carrying our child. I'm pregnant, not dying, I know. But nothing. I'm fine, he worried. Constantly, adorably, she loved him for it. Ezra prepared for the birth, gathered supplies, boiled water, made sure everything was ready. "You've done this before?" Cora asked. "Delivered half the babies in Silver Creek over the years. And they all lived?" "Most of them. Not the reassurance she wanted, but honest. She appreciated honest. The baby came in April, during a spring storm. Rain instead of snow, but just as fierce. Cora's labor was long, painful, terrifying, but Nathaniel held her hand, never left, never wavered, and Ezra delivered the baby, calm, efficient, experienced. When the cry came strong, healthy, furious. Cora sobbed, not from pain, from pure joy. "It's a girl," Ezra announced. He placed the baby on Cora's chest, tiny, perfect, real. Cora looked down at her daughter, at the miracle she'd stopped believing in. "Hello, little one," she whispered. The baby's eyes opened, gray like Nathaniel's, like storm clouds, like hope. "What should we name her?" Nathaniel asked, his voice thick with emotion. Cora thought about the journey that brought her here, about the storm that changed everything, about the life she'd found when she stopped looking. "Hope," she said. "Her name is Hope." Nathaniel kissed her forehead. "Then the babies? Perfect. She's perfect. You're perfect." Toby peeked around the doorframe, shy, curious. Can I see her? Come here, sweetheart." He approached slowly, looked at his sister. "She's so small. You were this small once." "Really? Really?" He touched her tiny hand. She gripped his finger. "Instinct, trust. I'm going to protect her," Toby said seriously. "Just like you protected me." Cora's eyes filled. "I know you will. I'm going to be the best big brother. You already are." He climbed onto the bed. Careful, gentle, the four of them. A family. Complete. Perfect. Spring 1860. Cora stood on the cabin porch, watching Toby, now 7, teach Hope to walk. The little girl toddled, fell, lodged, tried again, stubborn like her mother, brave like her father, loud like herself. Nathaniel appeared beside Cora, slipped an arm around her waist. "Happy?" She leaned into him. "More than I ever thought possible, even with the chaos." Inside the cabin, Ezra was teaching Hope to say, "Grandpa," or trying to. She kept saying, "Papa," instead, which made Nathaniel grin every time, especially with the chaos. Cora touched her stomach, where another life was growing, 3 months along, not showing yet. But they're real, another miracle, because apparently her body had decided to make up for lost time. "Should we tell them?" Nathaniel asked. "Not yet. Let's wait until we're sure. I'm sure." "I'm cautiously optimistic," he laughed. "You're impossible. I'm realistic. You're perfect." She turned, kissed him, still feeling the flutter of butterflies. "Even after 2 years, even after everything, I love you." She said, "I love you too." Toby ran up. "Ma," Hope took 3 steps. 3. "I saw, sweetheart. She's going to be running soon. Probably. Can I teach her to whittle?" "When she's older." "How much older?" "Much older." He grinned, ran back to his sister's pot. Protective. Perfect big brother. Nathaniel pulled Cora closer. "This is it, isn't it? What we've been building, this is it. Family. Family, not defined by blood, or biology, or what society said family should be, but by choice, by love, by showing up every day and choosing each other. Again, and again, and again." Cora looked at her family, at Toby teaching Hope, at Ezra making funny faces through the window, at Nathaniel beside her. How solid, real home. At the cabin they'd built, at the garden she'd planted, at the mountains stretching forever, at the mine that had brought them together, at the life they'd created from broken pieces, and thought, This is enough. This is more than enough. This is everything." She'd come to these mountains broken, barren, worthless, so she'd been told, so she'd believed. But she'd been wrong. She'd never been barren, just for the foot soil, for the right season, for the right love. And now she was full, overflowing. With family, with purpose, with joy. The storm had brought her here. The cold had almost killed her. The desperation had saved her. And the love. The love had made her whole. Nathaniel kissed her temple. "What are you thinking?" "That I'm grateful." "For what?" "For getting lost in that blizzard. For finding you. For all of it, even the hard parts?" "Especially the hard parts. They made this sweeter." Hope fell again. Laughed. Toby helped her up. "Again, Hopi. Try again." She toddled forward, determined, fearless. Like her mother, like her father, like her brother, like her family. Cora smiled. "Come on," she said to Nathaniel. "Let's go teach our daughter to be brave. She already is. Then let's go watch her be brave." Together, they walked down the steps, ginched their children, ginched Ezra, ginched their life. The cabin door stood open. Warm light spilling out, welcome home. And in the distance, mountains, still standing, still beautiful, still wild. But not lonely, not anymore. Never again. Epilogue. Years later, summer, 1865, the cabin had grown 2 more rooms, a proper kitchen, a porch that wrapped around. Children's laughter echoed through the valley. Toby, now 12, worked the mine with Nathaniel. Learning the trade, becoming a man. Hope 5, helped Cora in the garden, chattering constantly, asking questions, never silent, never afraid. And little Samuel 3 toddled after everyone, trying to keep up with his older siblings. Stubborn, brave, loved Cora stood in the garden, hands in soil, gray in her hair now, lines around her eyes. But happy, so happy, Nathaniel found her there, as he always did. "Dinner's almost ready. I'll be there in a minute." He knelt beside her, helped with the weeds. Comfortable silence. "Years of practice. Do you ever regret it?" he asked. "Regret what?" "Staying. Marrying me. This life." She looked at him, at the gray in his beard, at the scars time had added, at the love still burning in his eyes. "Not for 1 second, not even when the babies kept you up all night? Not even then? Not even when the mine had that cave-in? Not even then? Not even when one, she soft sure, not. Even? Once?" He smiled. "Good, because I'm not letting you leave anyway. Possessive, devoted." She laughed. Stood, brushed dirt from her skirt, called to the children. Dinner. They came running, all of them. Toby first, then Hope, then Samuel on chubby legs, a family, built from nothing, from broken pieces, from desperation and hope, from a blizzard and a rescue, from choice. Always choice. They gathered around the table. Ezra, now 77 and moving slow, said grace, thanking God for family, for food, for another day. They ate, talked, lauded, lived, and when night fell, when the children were asleep, when Ezra snored in his chair, Nathaniel and Cora stood on the porch, as they always did, looking at the stars. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For saying yes. For staying. For making this life with me. Thank you for asking. I'd ask again. Every day. If I could, then it's good you don't have to." He pulled her close. She fit perfectly. Always had. Always would. "I love you, Cora Blackwood. I love you, Nathaniel Blackwood." And in the distance, mountains stood witness to love, to family, to the life they'd built, to the miracle of 2 broken people becoming whole. Together. Always together. Forever.